Welcome Reapers. In this video we will be covering what exactly the Order is and what we know about it so far. Stick to the end as this could be the foundation for the rest of the chapter. Code tll-thereaper in the item shop. Huge shout out to everyone who does use my code. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about before we hop into the real stuff is where the Order was even discovered. Below the surface of the Hunter's Haven, Colossal Coliseum, and Stealthy Stronghold, there are secret entrances to strange underground bases, all very similar. They include locked elevator doors, fancy architecture, and a very simple main room in each of them. Like I said, they're all very similar. So in the files, those places are referenced to as the Order. We can also see the Order's logo plastered on the floor of the main rooms and the TVs that mark the walls. These underground bases have very creepy ambience, and you can sometimes hear noises even further below the ground, like you're kind of hearing the office down below, like the work and stuff. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about what this could be. The Order is assumed to be the company or organization that Agent Jonesy, also known as John Jones, works for. We can conclude this because in the story trailer for this season, he was revealed to be very deep in the ground. The office or main building underneath the ground also looks very similar to the bases we see higher up in the surface, further showing us that John Jones is working for the Order. So it's like the office that John Jones works in, it's like the buildings above are like other bases that they could, work at. So that's pretty cool too. So now we can safely conclude that we have this somewhat big organization under the island that John Jones works for. But what do they want? Well, we are going to have to go back to the story trailer for evidence. It holds a lot, guys. This trailer is stacked with hidden clues and information. We'll probably be referencing to this for months to come, to be honest. What does the Order do? Well, based on this very large, deep hole we saw in the Zero Room, it's kind of what I like to call it. It's like 0 point room, but I don't know. Zero Room sounds cool, so that's what I'm going to refer to it as. We can assume that when Galactus was sucking the 0 point out of the Authority to the surface, he was actually ripping it out of the main office below the island, and that's why 1, it took so long for Galactus to bring the 0 point to the surface, and 2, why there were alarms going off and an emergency going on in the office, like with the red lights in the trailer and the little cutscene and stuff. It was because the 0 point had just been ripped out of the 0 point room and brought up to the island and being exposed for Season 5. So when we saw the walls shaking and cracking, the IO guards, we will get to them later, frantically running around, it was because the 0 point has just been freshly plucked out of the room it was sitting in. This is also why we haven't seen any activity of the 0 point for the entire chapter. It was being held captive or kept by the Order underneath. And one last thing to prove the 0 point was inside the building below the island. The comic book said the island close to 0. It didn't say the island had 0 on it. It said the island close to 0. It was close to 0 because it was actually deeper below the island. Mind blown yet? No? Yes? Hopefully so. Well, brace for impact. This next part is even cooler. Okay, so now we know the Order has had the 0 point for a while. But again, what do they do? The Order monitors the loop, keeps the 0 point stable, and most importantly, keeps everything balanced. That's why when the 0 point was damaged and then exposed on the surface of the island, this mysterious lady on the phone told Jones he would need to enter the loop and stabilize the 0 point, and then close the bridge after himself. Oh, and by the way, the bridge has been revealed to be in the 0 point as well. We can assume this massive hole connecting the Order to the loop is the bridge. So glad this trailer kind of ties up loose ends. A lot of stuff has been tied up, which is pretty cool. So now we know what the 7 have been kind of talking about when they reference to the bridge. Because the bridge connects the Order to the island. Okay, anyway, in the loop. Anyway, Jones was tasked to fix the 0 point and stabilize it. But that wasn't really all. He had to dimension hop and bring bounty hunters to the island to stop people from leaving the loop too. But why? To be honest, nobody really knows yet. But when we do get some evidence as to why the Order wants us to stay in the loop, I'll definitely be sure to let you all know. It's kind of, there's theories circulating that maybe it's like save the world universe is kind of what is outside of the loop, and it's like zombies have just taken over and it's safer to stay in the loop. And then there's other theories that they're just kind of keeping us in here like a science experiment kind of thing. I don't know, but when we do get a solid answer or some good evidence pointing in one of the directions, I'll definitely be sure to let you guys know about that. To continue our discussion on what the Order does, we have to branch out a bit, literally. The Order has several branches of its overall team, and we know of 2 of them so far. The first branch of the Order is the Imagined Order, or IO, which is what they're referred to in-game. We can infer this because IO troopers, that's their name in the files, act as henchmen and randomly spawn up in select locations from elevators. Yeah, you heard me right. Literally elevators. John Jones seems to be higher rank in the Order, so that's why he gets to use the bridge. But the Imagine Order, or the military branch of the Order, they use elevators. The same elevators that are locked in the secret bases under the map. Because like I said before, when you go into the secret bases under those locations I mentioned earlier, there are these locked elevator doors you can't enter. Those are the ones being used by the IO. So, the assumed purpose of this tactical team is to help control everything in the loop and to make sure nobody is escaping, like what the bounty hunters are there to do also. So, the bounty hunters and the IO are tasked to make sure nobody escapes the loop from inside the loop. So we have the IO, but what's the other revealed branch of the Order? The Enforcers. While we don't have an official name for this team yet, people believe that the Enforcers, the secret skin from Season 5, finally has meaning. Before I hop too far into this, the Enforcer part of this theory was brought to my attention by Akko on Twitter. Make sure to go check him out and drop a follow. Please do, guys. Before you continue the rest of this video, follow Akko on Twitter. Thank you again. Anyway, I'm going to quote what Akko said about the Enforcers. This is exactly word for word what Akko said. The Enforcers make sure that all items are in their own realities, and if they aren't, they rift inside the loop and restore all objects to their default reality. I personally think this is a perfect explanation for what they do. So much evidence points towards this. It would only make sense for them to be a part of the larger picture of the Order. So the Enforcer's description was balance and order must be restored, and the weekly loading screen that released the same week as the skin did in Season 5 was a picture of about 4 to 5 Enforcers rifting into the island on the motel sign, because they were returning it to its correct dimension because it was rifted away earlier in the season. So literally they had it right in front of our eyes. They were returning the sign back to its dimension. The last thing I want to talk about is the possibilities that the lady on the phone and the head of the entire Order is Singularity. Her description is the first and the last. Her helmet was seen inside the Nexus on top of the desk sitting in front of the orb. She is the protector of the 0 point. If she was the first protector, it would make total sense for her to create an organization, the next chapter, to protect the 0 point from any further destruction. Although it's more likely that she made the Order a long time ago if she did, and we can assume as long as the island has been around, the whole operation has kind of been under works. That was a lot of information, so here is a quick recap for everyone who's kind of skipped to the end or listened to that all and is totally still confused. Here you go. The Order is a secret organization under the island made by Singularity to protect the 0 point in the loop at all costs. John Jones works for this organization too. The Order keeps the 0 point stable, monitors the loop, and has 2 known branches. Branch 1 is the Imagined Order, a tactical team sent to the loop to make sure nobody leaves or escapes. Branch 2 is the Enforcers, which are interdimensional police, and make sure all objects are where they belong and everything is balanced. That's it for today's video, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button and the like button too. Code tll-thereaper in the item shop. Hope you guys enjoyed. That was crazy. Until next time, keep it reaping.